To be here this evening, or evening for me, afternoon for y'all. My name's Ilan. I'm a VP of strategy, but basically as the first business hire here, I'm VP of everything. And today I want to talk to you about our Heven drones platforms and why we think the future of drones is actionable and what that means. So, next slide. So Heven Drones is a company that was founded actually 2 years ago yesterday in order to build what we call the next generation of actionable drones. Because what we saw in the market, and it's actually very fitting right now, I'm sitting in Jerusalem right now. We've been plagued by forest fires in the last couple of days that have just been devastating the forests around here. And so our CEO and CTO developed the initial drone that they created as a firefighting drone that was able to carry small pellets of fire retardant and to be able to search out the beginnings of a fire and put it out as the drone detects it. And so they define this as an actionable drone, a drone that is able to not just take pictures or see a situation, but to act on that situation. And while we no longer create that drone because we've done more research into the market and understand the market needs, we have seen that a lot of drone users today, whether it's in the government or commercial markets, are looking for drones that are able to fly longer, lift heavy loads, and be able to perform actions, whether it is delivery, but also more advanced types of use cases and missions. And so we've created a platform and a number of different types of drones in order to achieve just that. And so I'd mentioned, next slide, what we call an actionable drone. And so we define that as a drone that has the ability to be highly stable. We have a patented stability system that allows our drones to carry kinetic and highly unstable platforms, heavy as well as adaptable payloads. Our different payloads can be swapped out or customized very easily, and also to be able to fly for significant amounts of time. This trifecta of capabilities allows a drone not just to be a camera in the sky, but rather more of a flying robot that is able to achieve something. Go next slide. And part of that vision is not just creating, and I'll talk about the products and the platforms themselves, but it's about being able to provide the tools for that drone to be able to achieve the mission that's needed. So we have a lot of customers in the Homeland Security and defense sector. So we envision a drone, what we call the container vision. So of our 3 drone platforms, to be able to have interchangeable payloads that are able to, on a different day, whatever unit or search and rescue unit or FEMA, for whoever it might be, can take a single drone platform and very easily plug and play different platforms and payloads to accomplish the mission that they need that given day. A number of those payloads we're developing on our own, but we have a number of partners, third-party partners. So we're in many ways developing an app store for drone payloads so that third parties will be able to develop for our drone platforms. Next slide. And I've spoken about drones, but we don't just make normal drones. We hold a number of different patents that allow our drones to be very different and more capable than what's on the market. We have a number of patents that allow our drones to utilize typical lithium polymer batteries to be 80% more efficient. We're creating a hydrogen fuel cell powered drone. We have a patented stability system that allows our drones to carry kinetic payloads. And we also have a number of different patents regarding our payload connection systems and the payloads themselves. Next slide. And the drones themselves, we have 3 different platforms. 2 of them are currently flying and being used out in the field. The third one, the H250, which is our biggest and will be our flagship model, is still under development. But the idea being is that our smallest drone, the Urban Heven, which is currently the workhorse drone that most of our partners and clients use today, is an FAA Part 107 compliant drone, sub 55 pounds, that can carry and fly longer than most other offerings in the market, but it's highly customizable with US and allied developed parts to avoid any security risks. Next slide. And we've, in the last 2 years, so I have a lot to discuss because we're not just a drone platform. We consider ourselves a complete vertically integrated technology provider for drone solutions. So besides all the different technologies that I mentioned, we're also developing our own flight controllers, because right here today, the title of this presentation is about autonomy. Drones, the technology there is available to be able to fly autonomous, but regulation is not there. And so we already enable some of our HLS and government customers to fly autonomously. The regulation, especially in the FAA, doesn't allow just that. But one of the systems that we are creating is a fully integrated flight controller that can control all the functions of the drone, the payload of the drone, but also allow autonomous and computer vision and machine learning assisted flight of the drone, as well as BVLOS and remote flight. All of that comes to this slide, where traction. As I said, the company is 2 years old yesterday. We have a number of different clients here in Israel, mostly on the defense side, including many of the major primes here in Israel. We've run pilots with the largest HMO in Israel, delivering medical supplies and tests, a number of different homeland security and defense related pilots and customers, as well as a number of different customers all around the world that are not yet public. Our smallest drone is undergoing type certification in the US, and all of our 2 platforms that are flying are certified already by the Civil Aviation Authority here in Israel. Next slide.
3-second warning.
And part of that traction is not just creating drones and certain technologies that exist, but looking for future drone technologies. We have been awarded the as the sole provider of hydrogen drone technologies for the Israeli Ministry of Defense, and are working with a number of our partners in the US Department of Defense to create a fully hydrogen powered drone and the technology surrounding that. Next slide. We've raised a couple $1 million. The company is planning to go for Series A in the next 6 months to a year. Almost 30 employees, a number of different patents, subsidiary in the US, and a facility for manufacturing in Israel as we expand to US manufacturing and operations. Next slide. And the way we're achieving this, I myself have spent a number of years in the Israeli Air Force, founded a number of companies, have a background in venture capital, but it all comes down to our CTO, who has spent 30 years building drones before we even were calling them drones. Israel, to this date, the Israeli military operates the oldest drone squadron anywhere in the world. So Israel is very well known for creating drones from many, many years ago, and we remain a world leader. And so we're looking to take our quad, hex, and octocopter drone configurations and take autonomous drones to the next level. So thank you for your time, and if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Ilan. I'm assuming Jeff Aird has a question. Jeff, do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Yes. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar in the space. I run a joint venture focused on last mile drone delivery. So I'm up to my eyeballs in type certification for UAS and the FAA market.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah, so I'm also aware of all of the costs and time and heartache that goes into that. So where are you guys focused? Is it the defense side or the commercial side? Because those are, while you can do everything, and I see a lot of drones and different types. There's a lot of investment that has to go with each one of those, especially on the commercial side. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are on your strategy. What's your number one area, and then what's 1A or 1B?
Short term, we are very much a dual use company, because in the short term, we know that there's not too much of a market on the commercial side, especially as regulation is still catching up, especially in what will be our biggest market, United States. I'd say 90% of our customers and pilots today are all in the defense and homeland security space. And as the commercial market continues to develop, we will happily work with a number of our partners, but over the next 3, 4, 5 years, our main focus is the defense market.
Wonderful. Last question by Quentin.
Yeah, I like this idea of actionable drones and bring your own payload. But when I see a bucket hanging underneath the drone, my questions are, are there training activities that need to take place before the drone can learn the dynamics of that new payload? Is that entirely a software configuration, so I can bring a payload and tell you what mode you need to be in, like Can you kind of walk me through like how that happens and kind of what sort of hardware or software or both sort of configurations you need to be able to, deal with to do that, bring your own payload?
Yeah, so to date, one of our patents and one of our technologies is a stability system that is specifically built for our drones, that is able to in real time identify the payload and to be able to correct. And so I have a great video of the drone actually flying with that with a 55-pound oil drum. With wind blowing as the barrels rocking back and forth with contents inside the barrel, and able to adjust and not flip. That technology is integrated in all our drones, but is going to be part of what I'd mentioned before, integrated flight controller, which not only will be able to control the drone itself, but also to be able to control the payload and to be able to interface with that payload. So through a single UX, an individual will be able to control the drone. The drone will be able to adapt based on what that payload is doing, and then also control the payload itself. So obviously there will be onboarding and integration involved in all of that, but our goal is through our what will be an open source flight controller and drone controller to be able to plug and play as many possible payload configurations as possible.